Hello guys, we should be live now. I hope so, I suppose. Welcome to the stream. It's Rad, and in tonight's live stream, we're gonna check into Venus going into Virgo transit, which by the way happened already. It's currently 6th where I am. It happened actually at the 5th, which if you are in America, still 5th, but it happened at 12:15 a.m. So literally happened about more than 12 hours ago. Anyway, this is in effect up until 29th actually of September. So these are a good three and a half weeks period of time, and the purpose of tonight's stream is to check on how this is going to affect each one of us according, or rather like relating it to our sun, moon, and also rising sign through the prism of tarot cards. Again, this isn't an astrology reading, this is a tarot card reading, but if you do want to check on what the astrology really says, Pisces Moonbeam actually made a really nice post about it on the Facebook page. I'm gonna link it right now in the chat, so if you do care to check on the astrology aspect of the whole thing, you can use that particular link that I just copied and pasted here into the chat. So with that said, let me shuffle now the cards and just check on the collective reading for the transit and what will be the overall energy which is going to surround all of us. Cheryl, welcome to the stream. All right, so the first card for the transit, that is going to be the Hermit. Followed by the second card for the transit, we do have the Magician. Moving on next, we do have the third card, which that is going to be the Sun. And the final card for the transit, guys, we do have the Three of Cups. Overall, really good cards, aside from that Magician being sitting there. I don't like that card being into that position. That's my personal opinion, but pretty much what the Magician points into that particular position, that is, it is that in some cases or into some occasions, and today up until the 29th of September, we may end up being a victim of the circumstances, you know, meaning that someone is going to do something that we can do nothing about, but we will have to put up with it, okay? And that is something which I hate going through, and I believe every single one of us hate going through it as well. And also the Magician being there, it kind of puts can I put it into words, a difficulty, let's put it that way, or a predicament, people to accept each other the way they are in general. So expectations are going to be always there, and it will be very difficult, if not impossible, those expectations to be met. Your significant one may have kind of like expectations that you may find outrageous. For them, they're not going to be a big deal, but for you, they are going to be outrageous. You may have expectations from your significant one that they will find outrageous. For you, they will be only logical, you know, and reasonable. So that is going to be something that we'll have to put up with throughout the upcoming few weeks as well. But aside from that, the rest, it seems that is going to be a great time that we're going to have. In fact, this is a transit that is going to bring on the front page everything that it is important for us, or it's pretty much is going to shove it in our faces what is important and what we should kind of like attend to at that particular time in the immediate future, so to speak. And that will happen through that most likely for most of us, through a keen realization where we actually can grow. So wake up one morning realizing, oh my god, I can grow into that field, and that is actually something important for me. So that's exactly what I'm gonna put my efforts in. This is exactly what I'm going to throw my resources in, and so on and so forth. So we can expect a lot of personal growth, aside from that we may not kind of like be liked, right, by some people, or right away being screwed over in certain situations, which are not going to be though that important situations. Okay. Another thing which a bit contradicts the magician into the second position is that sun into the third one, and that is only going to be valid if one can look past the disagreements. Okay, you disagree with someone, but the moment you do realize that this disagreement is nothing in comparison of how have a good time you can have together, if you don't bring up that disagreement anymore, okay, if you don't bring up that subject anymore, and that will allow hatchets to be buried down, that will allow, you know, can I put it into words, that will allow a conflict to be set aside and to be settled as well, and that will allow for a really nice friendship to blossom, really nice relationship to grow, and it will allow for a natural development of human interaction, so to speak. But again, only if the differences can be set aside. And by the end of these 3.5 weeks, remember what I said, that this transit, right as it starts, the few days or within the few days after it starts, the universe is going to shove into our faces what is important for us and where exactly we need to kind of like be a participant of. Well, in that case, in that field, it seems that we are going to make a significant progress. And by the 29th of September, we will be quite happy with how much work we were able to do. And work, it's not just only physical work, but also emotional work and all these kind of stuff. And also by the end of this transit, it's highly likely that this initial discrepancy, so to speak, into the human interactions is going to abate significantly, and by the end many people are going to see things our way, and that will be a perfect time towards the end of the transit to establish partnerships, to establish relationships, or even communities as well. So hello everyone, welcome to the stream. And with that said, that was the collective reading. Again, if you do want to check on what the astrology says, aside from what the tarot says about the transit, you can check on Pisces Moonbeam topic, or rather like a post, which link you will find here into the chat. If you scroll up, I have posted the link. And yeah, now we are moving to the bulk of the live stream, which is going to be the 12 star signs, a reading for each star sign. But before we go there, just to tell you a few words about the channel, and that is that if you do wish also your own personal reading with me, you can always go to my website, link of it, which you're going to find in the description down below. And in the website, in its very front page, you will see a full list of my services and as well their pricing. Also, within this live stream, I am going to gift a free reading to 3 of you, right? And that one is going to take place after Cancer, another one is going to take place after Scorpio, and the final free reading is going to take place after a Pisces. And when I'm done with Scorpio or a Cancer or Pisces, I am going to announce a break. And that is the moment where you have to type up your question, all right? And I usually give 5 minutes questions to be written down here in the chat, and after those minutes are up, I'm going to pick up one of your questions and I'm going to perform a professional reading on it. Other than that, if you do decide to support the channel in the stream through super chats, you are going to get your reading at the end of the stream. That's pretty much given. If you don't have any inquiry with your super chat, the reading is going to be personalized for your personal transit. of Venus into Virgo. And if your super chart is $20 or above, you're going to get the very same reading that every single star sign is going to take, which is a 4-card spread. So with that said, let me shuffle and go for the first one, which is going to be Aries. By the way, Pisces Moonbeam, thank you for your 3 Canadian, which are going for a Robin super chat reading. Thank you, Pisces Moonbeam. So Robin, make sure that you do stick around up until the end of the stream, where you're going to get your personalized reading for how Venus into Virgo is going to affect you personally. Right, for Aries, the first card that they do have, that is going to be the 9 of Cups, followed by the second card, which is the 8 of Swords, followed by the third card, that is going to be the Queen of Wands, and the final card, that will be the 5 of Cups, okay? And one additional card to the Queen of Wands, we do have the Hierophant. So this is the Queen of Wands with the Hierophant, guys. And let me hold them like that. All right. So, and they do form a active neutrals as a elemental dignity. So it's an okay transit. What I do not like about your transit, it is that eight of Swords into the second position, and that is the lack of understanding how far you can go. Because this is a conditional position, that means that some of you may realize that they are underselling themselves, and that's exactly how it stands. And you do have that Queen of Wands being an individual or group of people, organization, that will try to pretty much shove it in your mind that you can, let's put it that way, you can go for more. You are far more capable than you are selling yourself for. And hopefully, you know, you will be able to look outside of the box, outside of your own personal domain, and be able to bring down these self-imposed limitations that you have bestowed upon yourself, because that is exactly what we're talking about here, a self-imposed limitations. And why wouldn't you? Really, we do have the 9 of Cups, I'm sorry, which is into the first position, guys. That is your environment, and you are going to be happy how you stand. Why would you risk that, right? But the thing is that there is no risk involved at all. Expanding your limits doesn't mean that you will have to sacrifice a ground, right? You don't have to. You can expand your ground without sacrificing any of it. Is it going to require hassle? Yeah, it will, but what doesn't? I mean, if you do want to acquire something, you do have to put some efforts behind it. But aside from that, if you do decide not to make anything, how can I put it into words? Extreme. Well, the next 3.5 weeks, as far as Venus in Virgo is concerned, they're going to be very happy for you. But what you need to put your attention into is maintenance. Maintain your relationships, maintain your job, maintain, you know, your loan if you do have one, maintain, you know, your house, maintain everything that makes you feel good, because, and especially everything that you are recently established that makes you feel good, because this transit for you, Aries, it is pretty much the deciding point. Is your happiness going to be a long-lasting one? And if you do not maintain what makes you happy, then it's going to be a short-term happiness, for at least what those cards are showing up. And by the end of this transit, which is again 29th of September, you are going to kind of like put up with some, how can I put it into words? Well, let's say unideal situations in your life, accepting that, you know, things are as they are, you know, you can't do much about it right now, so it's time to move on. And therefore you will relieve yourself from some kind of emotional distress. I do believe that this is something quite insignificant as an emotional distress, but nonetheless it is as such. So that was for Aries. Now moving on, next we do have Taurus. Oh, by the way, for anyone who is watching on video, you can track on which star sign I'm reading for by watching the glyph here on the screen. It's right over there. That's the Taurus glyph. Right, so for Taurus, first one, we do have the Empress, followed by the Queen of Cups. Moving on next, guys, we do have the Four of Swords. And the final one for you, Taurus, that is going to be a suitable finish here, Seven of Swords. So it's kind of like a power struggle that you are going to undergo through. I mean, throughout this transit, you will feel an insatiable hunger to have a break from somebody, and that somebody is that Queen of Cups, right? And the additional card to it, yeah, that's the Judgment. So we do have a passive enemies here, right, with these two, and that's a person who, I don't know exactly how they do it, but it's like having them around you, it doesn't allow you to do everything you want to do, right? And while having them around you, it's a good thing. It is because you can pretty much count on them, you can rely on them, you can share anything you are going through, and they're never gonna make you feel bad, and so on and so forth. It's kind of like their presence is pretty much stifling you. And the more you move Taurus into the transit, the more you are going to understand that you are not gonna get very far having this one around, or having this one being a substantial part of your life around. And so throughout the next 3 weeks, let's put it 3 weeks, it seems that you are gonna take a break from that person. And using that break, actually, you are to deliberate on, you know, what you want to do next, what kind of a thing you want to do next, with not just only with yourself, but also with anything that up until this point you are unable to. And by the end of the transit, it seems that you are going to initiate the motion of your own personal ambition. This time around, you wouldn't care if someone approves or disapproves what you are doing. All that you are going to care is that you do have the right to do it. So by the end of the transit, you are to be driven entirely by your self-righteousness, if I may put it that way. And that self-righteousness is not going to go to the extreme where the self-righteousness overrides the universal righteousness, so to speak. And so if you are worried that through self-righteousness you may do something bad, you may harm somebody, it doesn't look like that you are going to go through these lengths. In fact, having the Empress into the first position, it pretty much shows what you are to decide how to proceed forward with your life. That is, it's going to be a very, very mature choice of your behalf. Probably this choice is going to be revolving around that you cannot allow yourself being a hostage of someone that just want to have you by their side, most likely like a pet. Okay. Another thing about your transit, Taurus, it is that concerns that you do have are highly likely to abate or straight away disappear. You will do a grave mistake if you do think that these concerns are gone for good. They are not gone for good. They are going to come back further down the road, but you can use that time that they are not around to find a way how to resolve them once they are around. Just to give you an example of it, say that you are owning money to really bad person, a person that it's a con, right? And they got arrested, they got thrown into jail for, I don't know, 6 months, a year, a few years. There you go, your problem disappears for now. But they are going to come out and make sure that they are going to come looking out for their money, looking for their money. So make sure that you do use that time to find the money, and once they are out, you pay them back and you sever ties. That is just an example though. So it's a transit for you, Taurus, where you will kind of like, the way that I see it is that you are going to slam with your fist on the table and you will say it's either going to be my way or it's going to be the highway. It's your choice. Right, so that was for Taurus. Moving on, next we do have Gemini. First one for Gemini, that's going to be the Five of Wands, followed by the second card for them, which is going to be the Page of Cups. Afterwards, that's going to be the Eight of Wands. And the final card for you, Gemini, that's going to be the Four of Wands. This will be a very, very active transit. The additional card to the Page of Cups, that's going to be the Ten of Pentacles. Okay, so we do have here a like this. We do have here a passive friend as an elemental dignity. So a very active transit. In fact, as soon as you enter into it, I mean, you may feel it all around you already. It is that things are starting to take a turn. For the better, that is. And there are these surprising events left, right, and center that actually allows you to take the upper hand in one deal or another, in one situation or another, with one person or another. The problem is that there is going to be that one around you. If you do have children, most likely that is what the cards are referring to with that Page of Cups. But it could be someone that it is into you emotionally. Only thing that I know from these cards is that you do have quite of a history with one another. That Ten of Pentacles, pretty much Ten of Pentacles, it's can I put it into words? Its spiritual sense, it is that it connects the past with the present, right? And that means that you do have a past with that one, and that past goes for a long way. So that person would want you to change. Right, that person would want you not to take a part of that activity at all, but that activity is going to be important for you because having the Four of Wands at the end, it means that you have worked for it, you invested into it, that is something you toiled for, right? And within the next 3.5 weeks or 3 weeks, so to speak, Gemini, very important aspects of what you are working for or working toward, let's put it that way, are going to appear in front of you, that you will be compelled, you will feel compelled to pretty much take on it and finish the job. The only thing is that that person would not want you to finish the job because in their mind, you don't need to finish the job, right? And that will provoke conflicts, especially if this is your significant one. If it is your child, for example, not understanding that daddy has to go to work, you know, somewhere a week, or and to be an absent for a week, right? Or your husband doesn't understand why you have to stay late at work. Maybe they're going to start thinking that you're cheating on them and so on and so forth. Well, that is very extreme, but it is very, very possible because that is what we're talking about here without even planning it. let's say 5 to 6 p.m., something comes up that demands a couple of extra hours, but that is going to pretty much seal the deal at work. So such kind of a surprising events you are going to deal with within the upcoming 3 weeks, which are going to present you with a sudden turnarounds, especially into situations that are failing, that are right away going down the drain at that particular point. And if you do undertake those chances, by the end of this transit, you can consider yourself very successful, because you are going to end up finalizing very important cycles of development. So here it seems, Gemini, that you do have a, yeah, let's say that it is a choice, right, to neglect and disappoint person that loves you and get the job done, or completely ignore the job, let it fall apart, and don't disappoint a person you love. Or I don't know if you love them. I only know that they love you, or they do have an emotional attachment to you. So the choice is yours. And that was for Gemini. Now moving on, next we do have Cancer. Let me shuffle. Hello, Kara. Welcome to the stream. Thank you, News Devon, for your £4.49. Thank you. Make sure that you do stick around up until the end, where you're going to get your personalized reading for Venus in Virgo. All right, guys, Cancer. First, that's going to be the Tower card for Cancer, followed by that's going to be the King of Cups. Moving on next, we do have the Knights of Pentacles. And the final one is going to be the Two of Swords. Ooh. So the additional one, or the catalyst to the King of Cups, that's going to be the Lovers. And the catalyst to the Knight of Pentacles is going to be the Queen of Cups. So this is one of these TV series, I feel like, right, where you're in a really good relationship with that person, whether it is a man or a woman, depends on your preferences, or whether it is business or relationship. But let's say that it is relationship, because it's much easier for the example. And you're having really good time with them. I mean, I don't know if you love them, but definitely there is something emotional in it. And suddenly that person, the other person appears, which is the King of Cups, and gives you such a proposal, either through their actions, I believe is going to be straight away, they're going to telling to you, that is pretty much going to swipe away your plans. It will be something you will find a very, very difficult to deny, or, you know, to neglect. And that is going to be what the Tower is all about. This is how all of your plans are going to fall apart, or they have a potential to fall apart. Now the King of Cups comes into the disadvantageous position because it's the cause of all that. It is the cause of the chaos, of the inability for you to decide what to do. For example, if it is about career, you have just established a practice with that person and things are going well, but suddenly some kind of a fat wallet guy comes about and tells you, you are exactly the person I need, so I'm offering you that job, and the job on paper feels amazing, it's everything you have ever wanted, but hell, you do have an obligation to the person you built a business with or built a practice with. So what you gonna do? You know, from one side you want to take the job, from the other side you are going to feel awful, like a traitor to the one that you already have a development with. So what you gonna do, right? Well, the answer to it is that you don't have to do anything, right? Because eventually one of these is gonna pull away, and that is how you know which is the right bet, right? Maybe the one that comes and brings havoc in your life is gonna pull away. Maybe the other one is gonna see that it is not up to the challenge and is gonna pull away. Whichever the case, you do not make any choices within the next 3.5 weeks whom you should move on forward with, at least according to these cards. It's going to be a tough period, guys. I mean, you will have these regrets. You're going to have that poignant experience every single evening, every single night. You know what you are going to do. That's going to be the main question, whom you should move forward with. And by the end of the transit, though, things are going to settle, or the dust is going to settle, so to speak, and the right choice is going to become obvious to you. But only when it's obvious, only then you take it. Otherwise, you're going to make, or rather like you're going to bet on the wrong horse here. And that is your transit, Cancer. Cara, thank you so much for your 3 New Zealand dollars. Thank you, Cara. Make sure that you do stick around up until the end of the stream, where you're going to get personalized reading for the Venus into Virgo transit. Alright, guys, we are entering into the first break. Now one of you is going to get a free reading from me, and all that you got to do to participate into the contest, just input a question into the comments down below that you want me to read for with tarot, and in about 5 minutes I'm going to pick one of your questions, if there are any, of course, and I'm going to perform a professional reading on it. Yeah, Cheryl, it's going to be a bit tough for Cancer. And do you know why? It is because just as you enter into that transit, you would think that you have already settled everything, right? That you don't have, that finally you do have your life in some sort of a balance, in some sort of a pattern, and bam, someone comes in and completely annihilates the pattern, completely annihilates the balance. It doesn't have to be with a bad thing, okay? But still, the balance is no longer there. Well, yeah, Cancer moon, they're gonna probably feel it the worst. It is because the moon reflects your emotions, and if you listen to your moon sign, you will know how you're gonna feel. And you, Robin, are gonna feel devastated. All with Cancer moon are gonna feel devastated. Well, that's okay, Kara. You can always watch it on a video. It's going to be on the YouTube channel. So you just navigate yourself to the end of the live stream, and there you will find your reading. I hope you have a smooth shift. Yeah, I'm feeling much better, Cheryl. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome, Robin. But remember, guys, the Tower card always comes so can make us stronger, in a sense of that, yeah, it will be devastating experience, but its meaning, or rather like its reason, is to nurture and cleanse our lives. Everybody hopes for a smooth shift. That's the best thing you can have, I guess. Hello, Ella. How are you doing tonight? All right, enough waiting. Only one question submitted. Will D contact me? So, Kara, I cannot tell you for certain because Tarot is not designed to make choices for anybody. And him contacting you, 100% certain answer means that I have to make a choice for him. Okay, that is something he needs to decide to do. But I can tell you, however, it is what is his tendency. All right, is he planning to do so? Does he really want to do it? Right. So let's check it out. Those are the cards for you, Kara. I didn't need it to draw two additional cards. The first one speaks for itself. You know, people interpret the world like something positive, like, you know, it's you are going to succeed, let's put it that way. You are to a completion, and they're right. It's completed, right? It's over. It is what it is, and there is moving nor forward nor backwards with it. Whatever with the world, whatever is in stays in, and whatever it's out, it stays out. The card represents the Ouroboros already devoured itself, right? So there is nothing that can move, and how can I put it into words, and alter anything. It's sealed. So no, I don't think so. I don't think that he's gonna contact you, or even if he does, it's gonna be about something mundane that is not gonna extend the interaction, or rather, like, it's not gonna stir anything. Okay, so that is your answer. And the other two cards are just consolidating it. So, and by the way, also shows that his tendency is about a completely different perspective. So I'm sorry, but I would suggest you to get a different perspective as well. So with that said, guys, that was the free reading. And again, if you do want yours, make sure that you do stay up until Scorpio or Sagittarius, or not Sagittarius, but a Pisces, because there are going to be two more free readings giveaways within the live stream. But if you do support the channel through super chat, you're going to get your reading at the end of it. That's pretty much given. And should your super chat be $20 or above, you're going to get the very same reading I'm doing for the star signs themselves, but personalized for you. And finally, if you do wish personal reading with me, you can always go to my website, which link you're going to find in the description down below. And there on the very front page, you're going to see full list of my services and also their pricing. I have to re-record them, Pisces Moonbeam. They're very old. They're like 5 years old, and I was, you know, before that I already made classes, but it was in person here, so I didn't really knew what I'm getting myself into. So if I am to re-release them, I have to re-record them, all of them, and make them a bit more professional this time around. Couple of minutes, guys, and I'm moving to the next 4 star signs. The next one is going to be oops, it's going to be Leo. Thank you, Pisces Moonbeam. It is a tricky card, yeah. it's nor pleasant nor unpleasant card. It shows that it is what it is. Okay, it is as it is. That's why, for example, if people ask me that question, let's say, does she or he loves me, and I draw the world card and I ask them right away, well, what have they told you? They say, well, they told you that they don't love me. Well, then they don't. It is what it is. Okay, it's just the world said it, that it will be like this forever. Anyway, moving forward with Leo, the first one that we do have, again, the Tower card. That's for Leo, followed by the World. Moving on next, that's going to be Justice. Is that just Temperance? I'm sorry, that's Temperance. And the final one, we do have the Five of Pentacles. The Six of Pentacles. I'm sorry, that's not the 5, that's the 6 of Pentacles. Well, I talked about the World, and now Tarot is kind of like shoving it into my face, that not in every case. Okay, that's not in every case. Well, here the World represents exactly the opposite. That is because it's in a conditional position, meaning that that is something you can go for. So you can go for sealing it, you can go for wrapping the thing around, Leo, either with your marriage or either with your business. And that is in a negative sense, like wrapping it around in a sense of, yeah, I'm definitely going to divorce that one. Or yeah, I'm definitely going to end up the business, and so on and so forth. And this is going to be a wrong choice, according to these cards. According to these cards, you should give one more chance to what you are struggling with into the upcoming 3.5 weeks. In fact, you don't have to struggle at all. That is because we do have the Temperance into the 3rd position, which is another conditional card, meaning that that is something you can go for. And what you can go for here is compromise. And as soon as you do make a compromise with something, with that person or with that client or so on and so forth, you will see a reciprocation, that the other person, your client, or the situation itself, if you will, is going to make a compromise itself. And that way you're just going to find a common ground. If nothing else, though, the Temperance here shows that with tenacity. I don't want to use the word, I'm sorry, stubbornness, but instead I'm going to use the word tenacity. Being tenacious will allow you to find the right approach that is going to be the mildest approach, in the sense of that you don't have to do nothing extreme into the situation itself. It is just do the ordinary things which are demanded, I'm sorry, by the situation you are involved into. And the Tower card represents exactly that shift into a position. You have been determined to put an end to it, but as you move into the transit, you do realize that you don't have to. And that is a transformation, at least by my book, and not just only by my book, but also by Tarot as well. But by the end of the transit, you will realize that the difficulties you are facing up until this point, they're not just only one-sided. As much as they are coming, say, from your child, as much as they are coming, say, from your significant one, as much as they're coming, say, from a your boss, they're also coming from you. And by the end of the transit, you will also gonna find yourself being determined to change ways, to change some of your ways, a way how you interact with your child, a way how you do your job, a way how you address your significant one, and so on and so forth. So that is going to be a transit of a huge adjustment for you, a huge alignment, so to speak, that at the end you are going to end up being just better, you know. Tiona, thank you so much for your 99 cents super chat. Thank you, Tiona. Make sure that you do stick around up until the end, where you're gonna get your personalized reading for the transit. All right, moving on next, we do have Virgo. Right, so for Virgo, the first one, that's going to be the Star card, followed by the Knight of Swords. Moving on next, we do have the Eight of Wands. And the final one, guys, that's going to be the Moon. The additional card to the Knight of Swords, that's going to be the Page of Wands. Well, unfortunately, throughout the next 3.5 weeks, you may end up being ghosted. That's a typical behavior of the Knight of Swords being catalyzed with the Page of Wands. And it's just, you know, that person finds something more interesting, something more that makes sense for them, that is. Okay, but you should actually thank them. In fact, you should make party in their name. That's because instead of gouging your eyes out, they actually made you a favor here doing so. Because once you end up being ghosted for one or another reason, then life actually really opens up. And let's give that example. Let's say that you are dating that person, all right, and they suddenly ghost you. Suddenly, as much as they're telling you how much they love you and that you mean everything for them and so on and so forth, and on the next day, no word, no stone from them. And that is because they find someone that they like more, or someone richer than you, and so on and so forth, whatever makes sense for them. And you may feel bad about it, right? Everybody would feel bad about it. But what you do not realize it is that they actually made a room for a real love to settle down, because that's how the Star card operates. Okay, it's like starting from scratch, from a ground zero, but this time around things are in the bag, so to speak. And if we're following that example and that person ghosts you, I bet that there wouldn't be even a couple of days past until you actually start dating again. And this new person, whether a woman or whether a man, depending on your preferences, is going to be not just only miles, astronomical units better than the one that ghosted you. And you will see it yourself. You know why? It is because this new enterprise, let's say it that way, new enterprise, is going to fall in all of your ideals and criteria. It's just there will be nothing that you will be capable of criticizing, because it will be just perfect. And whether it's a job, or whether it's a romantic perspective, or whether it's a friend, or whatever it is for you guys, you will feel very, very blessed and happy with it. And by the end of the transit, you will realize that that ghosting that happened, it was the right choice, or rather, like, it was the right thing to happen, and that it actually was necessary. So you can, how can I put it into words? Let's say it that way. You can find your purpose, let's put it that way. Another example, let's say you schedule some kind of a construction workers to come and renovate your house, but they ghost you, they just don't show up, and so you frantically search for another company that happens to be a miles away, more professional, on a cheaper price. Isn't that a great thing, right? Or it turns out that these people are actually a scam, and they was about to take away your money without making any work. So If you end up being ghosted by something or by someone, just don't mourn about it within the next 3 weeks. Actually, it's a good thing that happened, because once again, it opens up a room for the right thing to show up and to actually do the job meant it. Right, so that was for Virgo. Now moving on, next we do have Libra. Three of Pentacles for Libra, followed by the Seven of Swords. Moving on, next we do have the Ace of Swords for Libra. And the final one for you guys, that's going to be the Six of Swords. It's a pretty straightforward reading, and it's all about you team working. Okay, I know that you are going to feel the incentive within the next 3.5 weeks, and even being a bit more compelled than you should be to do the job yourself, to make everything by yourself. But you don't have to, nor you should need to, nor it will be in any shape or form good for you. Next 3.5 weeks are actually weeks where you have to present what you are worth of, or rather, like you need to present your worth in the public, in the crowd, in front of your coworkers, in front of your boss, in front of your friends, but not by showing them how much you can do by yourself, but showing them that you can be an asset to the team. And again, it is the team. Same thing goes when it comes up into a romantic relationship. You shouldn't try to pull the whole thing by yourself and try to present yourself, you know, how successful you are by yourself and how much you have accomplished thus far. Everybody can see that. Show the person how much you can build with them as a family, as a girlfriend and a boyfriend, and so on and so forth. So it's very important that you are a team player. Aside from, who was it? I think Cancer was, and not Cancer, but a Gemini was it, that they have to be a solo player. So I may be wrong here. Oh, I don't remember which star sign was it, but you definitely have to be team player. Doing so, you will receive an unexpected support that will help you with your current development, support that will help you with your current projects, support that will help you with your current situations, whether in your personal life or whether within your domestic life or friendship life. And so it's just is going to be a support being out there. Also, you will be involved in a fruitful conversations, very productive cooperations, and so on and so forth. And at the end, you're gonna end up being how can I put it into words? You're gonna end up having regardless if it's where it's gonna happen to be, you are gonna end up having a team. Here, the Six of Swords at the end, it shows that everyone is going to be united under a common cause. Whether that cause is going to be successful, whether that cause is going to be to get the job done, whether that cause is going to be everybody to be happy, whatever the case, is going to be united under a common cause. And one last thing for you, Libra, within the next 3.5 weeks, always say the truth. Even if it is an ugly one, you always should say the truth, because that way you will receive as well a truth dealing, and that way you will always gonna know what you are dealing with. Is it easy? I don't know. Right, so that was for Libra. Now moving on, next we do have Scorpio. Hey Lawrence, welcome to the stream. All right, that's great. We do have the Hangman, followed by the Lovers. Then we do have the Sun, and then it's the Ten of Pentacles. Let me swing a coffee here for Scorpio. Oh my lord. Let's put it that way, guys. If you do have a big plans for the next 3 weeks, don't just go with the flow. Do yourself a favor and don't struggle consciously, that is. Okay, now next 3.5 weeks are going to be very uneventful, and passive is even the least to be said, for the lack of better word. I don't know how to put it here, but the thing is that we wouldn't have any idea what to do. That is because at that stage nothing can be done, and that's why we wouldn't have any idea what to do. I wonder what that is about with me, though. So that remains to be seen. But this next 3.5 weeks are meant for us to enjoy our life the way it is, instead of the way how we can make it. Because having the Hangman being there means that we can't make anything. I mean, it's set on how. So wear your nice clothes, play your interesting video games if that's something you do, drink your tasty wine, prepare your delicious food, and just enjoy yourself, right? Try to make yourself happy with already existing resources that you do have, already established enterprises that you do have. Definitely don't buy stuff, okay, in the next 3.5 weeks. Definitely don't try to initiate any relationships or projects, at least according to what those cards are showing here, because it's just is gonna hit some kind of a wall that it is going to be undomitable. It is just, no matter what you do, in fact, whatever you do is gonna make the things 10 times worse, right? So let me give you an example here. Let's say you are dating someone, and 2 days from now they tell you, I just need some time off, right? I don't know how I feel about us, so I need some time off. Give it to them. Just don't make any contact with them. If they are to return back into your life and continue this time around relationship instead of just dating, they're gonna do it, right? But you trying to ask for, are you ready, have you figured it out already, and so on and so forth, it's just gonna make the things 10 times worse. And not just only that, but it's gonna make a choice for them, and it's definitely not gonna be in your favor, right? So next 3 weeks, guys, 3.5 weeks, just relax, right? Don't take anything personal, and enjoy the show. That's all that is needed, because at the end everything is going to make sense. And in fact, why this is happening, well, it is because something in our past that needs to catch up with the present, right? I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is with me. I don't know what it is with any single one of you, but it is there. And the only thing that I can figure out, it is that within the situation needs a person that is from our past, that is not already here, right? They are coming, but they're not already around. And this next 3.5 weeks, it is just waiting for them to catch up with us. And once that piece is there, everything is gonna stir back again. But until that piece is not present, nothing can be done to progress further. In fact, anything you do, anything we do, is going to make the things 10 times worse. Chandra, thank you so much for your $19.99 US. Thank you, Chandra. Make sure that you do stick around up until the end. where you're going to get your personalized reading for the transit. And Mattia, thank you so much for your $9.99. Thank you, Mattia. You also make sure that you do stick around up until the end, where you are going to get your personalized reading for the transit as well. Alright guys, second break and the second free reading. So if you do want to have a free reading with me, all that you got to do is just input a question into the comments down below, and in about 5 minutes I'm going to pick one question of yours, if there are any, and I'm going to perform a professional reading on that question. So if you do have a question that you wish to be read for with tarot cards, now is the time to input it. Such a chill reading for Scorpio, and when I say chill, I don't mean kind of like in a bad way. I actually like it. It's gonna be very peaceful, to say the least, transit. And God knows, and Pisces Moonbeam knows as well, that I am not someone who takes an initiative and who does things differently, in a different way. I want to address your question, Anna. The thing about tarot is that it doesn't show up for a lifetime. The maximum you can see further with, it's 1 year. So if I answer your question, that's gonna be for the next 6 months to 1 year. And imagine that situation. I tell you that it's gonna be amazing, all right? It's gonna be like a brand new relationship. You're gonna have a really, really good time, but that's for the next 6 months. What if after that that person changes and starts abusing you, you know, in certain ways? So I don't think that I would like to take that question, because I may push you into making a choice that you may regret afterwards. I hope you understand. You know, just only that you will regret, but also it can harm you physically and emotionally. And but how do you feel about it, Anna? Do you want to make that attempt? Or rather, I will ask you that way. What is the reason for you to want to make that attempt? What is the reason? All right, so how do I get unstuck into it now? Or rather, like Susan Bishop asks. That's never a good reason. Anna? If your reason was so you want to be happy and that man makes you happy, that's a good reason. But having your family together, if you are unhappy in your family, your children are going to be unhappy, that man is going to be unhappy, or if he is unhappy, all right, the same thing. So the only valid reason, at least in my book, that is just my personal opinion. I mean, you can do whatever you feel it's best for you, but the only valid reason to want to be with someone is the happiness. If you are happy with each other, then yes, definitely. But if the reason is something material as a family, you know, because many people are staying together just for the children, and they having the worst life in their lives, or rather like they're having the worst time in their lives, it is because they are unhappy with one another. And the children are also unhappy. Okay, they can see that. So maybe if you do wanna make that attempt, first find out what makes him happy and think about, can you provide it? Can you be okay with it? And if you can, then make that attempt. All right, so what can unstuck you? Let me put down Scorpio. Make you unstuck. Those are your 3 cards. Well, Susan, according to these cards, and again, by the end of the day, you should do whatever suits you best, all right? Whatever you think is best for you, no matter what the card says. But what they are saying is that you should always try to find a way to be your way, all right? That's how you can get unstuck. In other words, you should stop following rules. That's what those cards are showing here. You should, how can I put it into words? Stop clinging to the right thing, but do the wishful thing. Think of it that way. More often than not, we all have to make a choice, and that choice revolves around what we have to do against what we want to do, right? Well, in order for you to get unstuck, at least according to these cards, is that you go for what you want to instead of what you have to. Okay, that's what's gonna get you unstuck. Unstuck, I'm sorry, at least according to the tarot. All right, that was your reading, Susan. In a couple of minutes, guys, and I'm moving to the next 4 star signs, which are going to be Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and after that we do have Pisces. After Pisces, the last free reading is going to take place, and after that free reading, the super chat readings are going to take place. Anyone who supports the stream and the channel through super chat, you guys are going to get a reading at the end of the stream. That's pretty much given. And should you have no inquiry with your super chat, your reading is going to be about the transit, personalized reading for the transit, how Venus in Virgo is going to affect you personally. And if your super chat is $20 or above, the reading is going to be the very same one as I'm doing for the star signs themselves. Well, then you are on the right track, at least according to the tarot cards. Going forward, Sagittarius. Hello, Laura. Welcome to the stream. Right, first one for Sagittarius, Four of Pentacles, sorry. So we do have Four of Pentacles, followed by the Lover's card. Moving on next, that's going to be the Strength. And the final one, we do have the King of Wands. So forget what I said about Susan. You got to do exactly the opposite for what we have here. Okay. Now within the next 3.5 weeks, Sagittarius, you definitely gonna have your you will have your chance, even more than just only one, to secure the certainty of your future, right? To secure a house, to secure a job, to secure a friendship, whatever you feel unsecure about, you will have the chance to make it secure. The problem with that is that the way that you will have to make it secure, it will be a bit concerning, in a sense of that it wouldn't be something you not like use of doing, something you would want to do, right? And therefore, more often than not, within the next 3.5 weeks, you will feel like you are disharmonious with yourself, that you are not yourself. When you look at yourself into the mirror, it will be like you are seeing a completely different person with what you're doing, and that will be completely normal. All right, within the next 3.5 weeks, actually, you are guided by the Strength card. And the Strength card, it is one of, at least in my opinion, one of the best cards, because the Strength, under its energy, Tao has the sense what kind of a attitude to bring into situation. For example, someone is talking to you, and you will immediately gonna know what kind of a composure to take. Should you be aggressive, or should you be passive, or should you be submissive? You will immediately gonna know. The thing is that you would want to do something different. For example, you talk with someone that you are dating, and at that point, something within you tells you you gotta shut your mouth. All right, you just have to let him or let her or whatever or whomever lay it all out and just forget about it. But from within, you will feel that you have to burst out. You have to make your argument right there. You do it, you lose it. Okay, so it's very important that you do listen to that astute sense you're going to have within you, what kind of a attitude to have into one or another situation. Or your boss calls you to kind of like harp on you for something, to kind of like well, definitely shit on your head with words, that is, about some kind of a project. It's not your fault, but you are the closest person he can find, because right now he needs to vent something. And as soon as you make your argument there, something within you tells you that you got to keep your mouth shut. And as soon as you override that feeling and you open your mouth and you actually make your argument, you may end up being fired just right there on the spot. Vice versa, guys. You have that feeling that you have to stand your ground. That is the moment. But you say, no, I mean, I can make the things worse. And you don't stand your ground. Again, you're going to lose, because you're going to end up being in a conditions that are far worse than what you can handle. So very important, once again, that you do listen to that sense you're going to have within you, what kind of a behavior you should undertake or you should be with in one or another in one or another situation. You ain't gonna like it, okay, but it will be the right thing to do, at least according to these cards. It's gonna secure you what you are after. It's gonna secure your path. And by the end of this transit, actually, you're gonna find yourself in a really good spot, being there, having quite of an ambitious goal that will be already established with a very, how can I put it into words, very determined and as well effective actions on your behalf. Liz, thank you so much for your 511 US dollars. Thank you, Liz. Make sure that you do stick around up until the end of the stream, where you're going to get your personalized reading for the transit. All right, so that was for Sagittarius. Now, moving on next, we do have Capricorn. Wait, I do have a lot in Sagittarius, so that is for me as well. Actually aligns very well with the Scorpio reading, where I should just do nothing, right? All right, so next one, Capricorn. First one for Capricorn, that is going to be the moon, followed by Nine of Wands. Moving on next, we do have the Ten of Pentacles. And the final one, that's going to be the Five of Swords at the end. So there is only one sentence we can say about this reading here, and that is that if right now you are not on the right track with your life, if right now you're not doing the right thing for yourself in your life, if you're not with the right person, or if you're not in the right job, you are about to be, all right? And that's all we can say. Next 3.5 weeks are gonna be pivotal. You can't do much about it. It's happening, it's coming, it's there, and you will have to take it. It's not gonna be a bad thing though, because like I said, it's you are to be set on a destination that's you are meant to be at. Whether you are going to be set on a destination to end up in the job that you are meant to work for, or in a destination to be with a person that you are meant to be with, whichever way manifests for you guys, it's just one piece of the puzzle in your life, or even more than that. Half of the puzzle of your life, or even whole puzzle of your life, is going to be aligned within the next 3.5 weeks, and that's pretty much all that we can say about these cards. One last thing before I move to Aquarius, because that's about it, right? Is that if you think that you can do something better, or you can rearrange stuff around, don't think that way. I mean, you did everything that you could, and now you just have to leave the universe to do its part. That's all that you gotta do. Oh, and because these things are going to realign themselves, I mean, your life is going to start realigning itself by itself, okay? Not by you, but by itself. You may feel a bit emotionally distressed, like not knowing what is going on, you don't know how to feel about it, and it's kind of like there is going to be an emotional wavering out there. That is something temporary, and it's going to go away once the dust settles. So that's for Capricorn. Really short one, but you know, nothing more. I mean, I can sugarcoat things all day long, but that's not something we do here. Next one, we do have Aquarius. Because if you came for an answer in a private reading, and you ask me about something, for example, is that business good for me, and I draw these cards, I would say, yeah, it's happening. I mean, whether you think it's good or not, you are going to be a part of that business one way or another. It's happening, all right? All right, Aquarius. First one, we do have the Page of Swords, followed by the Ten of Wands. Moving on next, that's going to be the Nine of Pentacles. The final one is going to be the Four of Pentacles. This is a figuratively said, all right? It doesn't have to be exactly that, but what that reading is talking about is that we need, and I'm saying we because I'm rising Aquarius, we need to follow the money, all right? We need to follow the success. We need to follow the, for example, the successful people, the rich people, the easy way forward. I love it. The easy way forward. All that this reading shows is that we shouldn't work hard, guys, because there is no need for it. We are smart enough not to work hard enough. That's how they are showing themselves up, and that is pretty much the spiritual meaning of these four cards. It is that within the next 3.5 weeks we're going to realize that we don't have to struggle, we don't have to toil in order to establish, for example, successful business or successful relationship, or to feel safe and secure within our life. All that we gotta do is just think about carefully and make a tiny action or tiny readjustment here and there, and everything is going to blossom. Now on the material front, quite a few things may happen. The most prominent one, it is that we are gonna get very, very unexpected help that is gonna relieve us from quite a lot of burden, like burden of responsibilities, burden of performance, burden of time, and so on and so forth. Also, there is going to be an incentive within the next 3.5 weeks to make a purge in our social circle. Like, there are going to be people that we are sick of interacting with. We realize that they can't teach us into anything. There is no reason for us to spend time. It's not actually spending time with them. It's now we consider being wasting time with them. And therefore, we will strive to, or rather like move to strike those relationships until we actually surround ourselves only with people that we can grow together. Okay. And by the end of this transit for Aquarius, it seems that we are going to establish a somewhat of a comfort zone, guys, in our material world, that is. So it's likely to find ourselves happy with, for example, our income, with the amounts of work we gotta do, with the amount of friends we do have, with the amount of suitors, or with the amount of love that we are receiving, if we are receiving such by the end of the transit. And that's all for Aquarius here. It's a great transit for them. And all that we have to do, once again, instead of trying to do it the hard way, we should try to do it the smart way. All right, and last but not least, we do have Pisces. Right, so first one for Pisces, that's going to be the World, followed by the Tower. Moving on next, we do have the Six of Pentacles. And the final one, oh, that's going to be the Hierophant. So we do have the Saving Grace at the end. Well, that doesn't changes the fact that the whole transition to the end of this transit is going to be somewhat tough. I don't know how to even describe it. Well, it will feel like, what was the third card? Yeah, definitely. So it will feel like that we can do something about it, and primarily that about it is concerning about climbing a hierarchy. So for example, it will feel like we can do something to get promoted. It will feel like that we can do something to be having a bigger commitment into a dating endeavor. It will feel that we can do something to buy a bigger house, for example. It will feel like we can do something to build on top of a thing we already agreed for. We want, or rather, like, you guys will not gonna be able to. Trying to kind of like it's even going to be considered like a cheating, trying to cheat your way through, like, you know, signing up a contract and then trying to twist it. I don't know how to describe. Yeah, they're definitely trying to twist it in a certain way. Is gonna actually start working against you, and is gonna make your experience within the next 3.5 weeks very unpleasant. What those cards are showing, it is that within the next 3.5 weeks, the hierarchy is going to be brought to bear. All right, so you're going to be exactly where you have to be, and you cannot move nor a step forward nor a step backwards. And as soon as you make your peace with it, the better. And once you do make your peace with it, your career is going to move forward and your love life is going to move forward. But the more you try to overstep your boundaries, for as much as those boundaries are determined by the universe, right? Um, the more you are gonna be smothered beneath thy toe and die. That's the universe's toe, right? So if you do make your peace with your situation, what you can expect, should that relates to your career or should that relates to your relationship? Well, if that relates to your career and you just accept your situation within your career and you start doing your job, then you will see that the position you are in actually is not that bad. In fact, it's something you would enjoy doing to a point where you wouldn't care how much money you are paid to do what you are doing, but instead you would do the job for the job itself. And once you start doing so, the hierarchy is going to open up for you, and then the path of growth will be presented. In a relationship, should you kind of like not resign, but make your peace with what the situation is right now, then you will see growth into the trust and the mutual reliability within that relationship, and you are going to start loving each other even more. That's going to be your reward for making your peace with how things are. But because we do have the world being into the first position, what we said about the world, things are as they are, nothing can be done about it. And that was for Pisces. And now the last free reading is going to take place. If any of you wishes a free reading being done here on the stream, all that you got to do is input a question into the comments down below that you wish me to read for with tarot cards. And after about 5 minutes, I'm going to pick one of your questions, should there be any, and I'm going to perform a professional reading on it. And after the free reading, the super chat readings are going to take place. So anyone who supports the stream and the channel through super chat, you guys are going to get a reading at the end. That's pretty much given. And should your super chat be $20 or above, you're going to get the very same reading each star sign got. But it's going to be personalized for you this time around. Well, yeah, well, Cheryl, both of mine are a passive. So I guess I can't expect much of a growth within the next 3.5 weeks. Good night, bye, Smoothie. I guess there are no questions, so no free reading. Moving on to the super chat. Chandra, your reading of the super chat is going to be at the end, just so you know. So let me shuffle and see what we got. All right. So Robin, Venus in Virgo is gonna bring you this. It's the King of Pentacles, Robin, and a few things about that card. You will have some situations that this transit is going to bring in your life that you will have to bring your friends into the matter. So it's literally a situations where you should, it's not like seeking help, it's more like seeking assistance. Now that's a bit different thing. And also what advice that card give you, it is that before you do initiate something new, right, make sure that you do have everything sorted out with your current enterprises and your current endeavors. If you do have something left unfinished, you definitely don't undertake anything new that it is presented to you. And also the transit is going to present you with a situation where it's going to be a call for investment, whether a material or emotional investment, and all of your investments are going to have a return. They will be reciprocated. News Devon, your card, the moon, and it's catalyzed with the chariot card here. So you are gonna end up being very proud of not just only your performance, but as well how you dealt with stuff around in the next 3.5 weeks. I don't want to exaggerate here, but these cards could stand definitely for a wish coming through, right? And it's a wish because you put a mighty and colossal efforts behind it, and it's finally happening, it's finally there, it's coming around, and you are going to be pretty thrilled about it. You are definitely going to consider it being a wish coming through, and throughout the next 3.5 weeks, news, you will kind of reap the luck of your hard work. I don't know how to put it in another way. And that was actually something that you would have done one way or the other. If it didn't happen now, it would have happened later down the road. That was something that you wouldn't be able to escape. But that's going to be just the tip of the iceberg, because there is going to be a follow-ups we cannot predict right now, but these follow-ups are going to be humongous. So you know. Kara, we do have for you the Ace of Pentacles with the Page of Pentacles, Kara. For you, that transit is going to bring a very harmonious relationship, starting with friendship. How far you are going to get with it, definitely there is an incentive to transform into a love and an intimate relationship, but are you going to get it there? That is entirely up to you. So that's pretty much the big thing that the transit is going to bring you. And aside from that, you can expect to establish quite successful maneuvers as well, especially if you do have your own business, and especially if you are, how can I put it into words, if you do have the freedom to call your shots when it comes to work. Tion, your card is the Five of Swords. You gotta be very careful into the Venus into Virgo next 3.5 weeks, Tiona. That is because some people may take advantage of you. In fact, you may end up being very humiliated by the actions and as well the words of some people around you, and that is going to be because they will just gonna abuse your trust. All right, they're gonna earn your trust, and then they are going to betray you. Another thing for you, don't overestimate yourself. Know exactly how much you are capable of, because also there is an incentive that you may involve yourself in situations that you wouldn't have what it takes to see them through. So if I were at your shoes, no friends and no bets in the next 3.5 weeks. It's just go for certainty and you wouldn't do anything wrong. Mattia, Nine of Pentacles with the Page of Cups, Mattia, and then the other one that's going to be the Sun, right? So Mattia, those three cards are speaking for a huge progress and a long-term enterprise that is to be established within the next 3.5 weeks. And when I say long-term, that's going to be an enterprise that you will be emotionally attached to. In other words, you are going to give your heart into it. That doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. It could be a work project that you would love being a part of. And in fact, if that's the case, it's going to be extremely lucrative. The only problem with it is that it's gonna feel like you will have to really push it. It's gonna feel like, you know, it's kind of like you are pushing the carrot instead of pulling the carrot, you know what I mean? So it will feel a little bit more difficult than it should be. It will feel a little bit more struggle than it should be, and so on and so forth. And it's a bit unnatural. I don't know why that's the case, truth be told. I was just gonna speculate if I try to give you my assumption here. But aside from that, Mattia, next 3.5 weeks are great for you to step in from dealing with small stuff into dealing with big stuff. All right, kind of like getting into the A league, so to speak. Liz, your card is the Star with the Magician. Liz, if you are having plans to start something, that's the moment, right? That's literally the 3.5 weeks where you are to which are great for you establishing, starting a new relationship, starting a business, buying a house, whatever the case, right? Especially starting a relationship, Liz. That's if you manage to do that within the next 3.5 weeks, it's just the person that you're gonna end up with, which is going to be of your choosing, by the way. It's going to love you for who you are. It's just they will have no complaints whatsoever about your lifestyle, about your looks, right, about how you behave, and so on and so forth. But even in business, those cards are great. It's because they show that you will, whatever you are to face in the business and in your job, you will know how to deal with it. And in fact, immediately when you see the predicament out there, you will have the plan how to deal with it. Right, so last but not least, we do have Chandra. Chandra, let me shuffle and see your Venus in Virgo. Oops. All the star signs have been done, Tiffany. Hey, Anna. Welcome to the stream. Although we are wrapping it up now. First one for you, Chandra, that will be the Three of Cups. Moving on next, we do have the Ace of Swords. Afterwards, that's going to be the Ten of Wands. And the final one, we do have the Ten of Swords. All right, so very important messages here. One of these important messages, it is that people doesn't have to know everything, okay? There are some aspects of what you know that they can't be handled. I mean, people ain't gonna handle them, right? Especially if they are very, very sensitive. So even if you do feel compelled to tell the truth to someone, think twice before you do it, because it may be taken the wrong way, or it's just the person may not be able to handle it. The more you can withhold as an information, and you just let people know what they have to know instead what they need to know, right? Or rather, like, let people know what they need to know instead of what they have to know. I believe that's how you should say it. It will be your best play here. Other than that, you will be very believable character. right? It's just whenever you do display strategy, whenever you do say what you think, whenever you do display your vision for the world, people will feel compelled to agree with you, right? It's just people are going to see a reason, not just only see a reason, but also they're going to feel the same way. If you do feel bad about certain job, all of your team is going to feel bad about that job. If you do feel good about that person is going to feel good about you as well. It's just there is going to be that stream of emotions which you are going to be leading into, and that will allow you to actually move a lot of things around, okay? But just people doesn't need to know that. That's my point, right? People doesn't need to know that you are moving all these things around. Ultimately, by the end of this transit, you are gonna end up being in a pivotal point where you will have to force a new era in your life, okay, in a certain way, and that will be managed very rapidly, so to speak. Having the Ten of Swords there in such a follow-up, it kind of means that you are gonna make the tough calls. It's just there looming, and you will see by the end of September, as it is approaching, that there is no delaying that. There is no point into delaying it. So you can expect by the end of September to cut something loose, right? To cut, for example, a relationship loose, certain people loose, workers lose, for example, or just some kind of a habits lose. The thing about the Ten of Swords, it is that this is irreversible. I mean, once you cut it loose, you don't get it back. So make sure that you do make your choice correctly by the end of September. But again, be very, very careful what kind of an information you do share with people around you, because most likely most of them won't be able to handle it. Anna, thank you so much for your $20 US. Thank you, Anna. Let me shuffle your the cards for you and tell you what your Venus in Virgo is going to be about. So Anna, the first one, that's going to be the Lovers, followed by the Ten of Swords. Moving on, next we do have the Five of Pentacles, and then it is the Eight of Wands. So Anna, within the next 3.5 weeks, you're gonna start feeling that there are quite of a unnecessary aspects in your life, like for example unnecessary people, like for example well, not exactly people, I'm sorry, with the people you ain't gonna have much problem. You're gonna have more problems with you know, how can I put it into words? It's like actions, all right? It is like personal performance, quite of an unnecessary actions you do, okay? And actions, or rather like even concepts, they could be even concepts which are being more hassle than actually they're bringing any benefits to you. Like for example, every day calling a certain friend, and as this transit progresses, you find that to be more annoying than actually helpful, or rather like more traumatic than actually relieving, and so on and so forth. And thus it seems that they do concern your lifestyle, right? These are things you are used to do. So or for example, it could be as well a diet. I mean, you follow a certain diet and you do realize that it doesn't bring the results you want, and it is kind of like annoying, and it's a hassle, right? It's just something you don't want to do anymore. And so such kind of a things you will kind of like stop doing because it's something you wouldn't like to do. And the bottom line of that, it is that within the next 3.5 weeks, you will strive to be more in harmony with yourself, because not because but and the reason for that, or rather like the result of that, is going to be that whatever you end up doing throughout the next 3.5 weeks is going to be something you would want to do. And we do have a parable in our country saying that if you work what you love, you ain't gonna work a single day in your life, because you are doing what you love to do and you do not consider it as work. Okay, and that is gonna be your composure toward literally everything, or this is how you're gonna end up by the end of this transit, with such a composure to everything. So you can expect that if there are annoying things around you right now that you rather not do in your life, well, at the end of this transit, even if they stay, the very least you're going to find a way to do them in a way that you would like doing them, and that is just going to find and you're going to just find your life being way more harmonious than what you have entered with into that particular transit. Don't push yourself as well, Anna. It is just, how can I put it in your how can I put it into words? If certain situation or an enterprise doesn't allow you to be creative, it just ain't worth moving forward with it. And also, what you need to know it is that within the next 3.5 weeks you don't have the right decision, the wrong decision, I'm sorry, you don't have the wrong decision. It is just personal preference, so don't think too much about it. You just do things the way that suits you the most. Either way is gonna work for you. It's an amazing transit for you, and it is a transit where you can make your life way more happier and way more pleasant in general to live into. So with that said, guys, that was Venus in Virgo live stream. Hopefully you do enjoy it and you do liked it, and thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for your generosity as well, and we are going to see each other around. Until then, bye.